G'day everybody, Simon here, Explosive Action. I'm back for another death metal update for the month of July. Got 7 records here to take a look at, so let's get into it. This episode of Explosive Action is brought to you by Blacksound Records. Blacksound Records is a record store located in Melbourne, Australia, specialising in underground metal, punk, noise, experimental and everything in between. Blacksound offers fast and free delivery options across Australia, New Zealand and the world. Explosive Action viewers can get 5% off their first order using the code EXPLOSIVE05 at checkout. A reminder, as always, this video went to channel members first. You can get early access to my videos for 99 cents a month, and you never know, we might do some exclusives in the future. So first up here is a record that I did purchase from Blacksound Records that you saw in the promotion at the start. I highly recommend that you take up my discount offer there and check out their store, because you can pick up crushing things like this Decrepisy with Deific Morning. This is the sophomore full length from the US Doom Laden. I'm not going to call them Death Doom again, but I think Doom Laden death metal. I'm happy with that. Came out in March this year. Decrepisy, really solid band. Their first album in 2021, I think it was, Emetic Communion, one of my favorites of the year. And this thing here, this is heavier than an orgy of steamrollers. I am talking like just concrete mixers all making love to each other. This is absolutely foot-stompingly, head-noddingly, disgustingly heavy stuff. It's sluggish, it's drawn out, it has full-bodied riffs, just like a full-bodied beer. Lots of repeated chug goodness in here, but it's not simplistic. This isn't just, like just dun 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 for the entire album or anything like that. But when they do it, it just brings out this, with the guitar tone and the drums behind it, just this heaviness. My God. And what I really like about this, and they do it a few times, there's these very odd leads. And I'm not a musician, I can't really quite explain how they're done or what's going on there. It's like this quivering sounding filter, flange, maybe. I don't know what they call it, but just these sort of, these sort of single picking notes that are very dissonant, sound a bit off key compared to the main rhythm. And it's got this filter or something over top. Like, it's really weird, and it's very, like, basically spooky sounding. It completely fits the atmosphere. So good, and they do it more than once. Big pounding sledgehammer drums. If I was ever going to be a musician, it would be drummer, and the drums here are just deadly sounding. And then the completely indecipherable guttural vocals on top. So yeah, it all has that sort of death doom sound to it, but there's a lot of just straight up death metal going on here too. The first track, Ceremony of Unbelief, is a shining example of what this band can do. Starts slow and hammering, and you think you're in for some kind of disembowelment type song. It gradually finds more and more pace as it progresses along, to the point where it ends with this like whammy bar, dive bombs, and you're just in death metal glory town. So that's great. Flip it over here. The next track, there's the back looking just as good. The next track fades in with this sort of dark, dripping soundscape, very much, I'll have to say, cavernous, because it does sound like it's dripping in a cave. These horrific whispers as well, like the vocals take on a real tortured but very whispery sound. Again, it's grindingly slow and very oppressive sounding. More of those strange leads. Please, somebody tell me how it's done, or give me some words to explain it, because I don't know what it is that they're doing on this. I'll try and use that in the sample that plays after this. And it gets to the mid part of the song, and we start getting into like Depegus, like tompa, 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 that kind of drum pattern. Great stuff. But overall, it's just an ugly, meandering beast with another dive bomb solo, of course. Me, my dive bomb solo is amazing. And then the third track on side A is Dysautonomic Terror. Dysautonomic Terror. There you go. That one gave me an instant riff face. Like, as soon as it started, and it's a very chug-focused one, I was just, oh, and not in sort of like that thrash metal chug face, but in sort of like a fuck me, this is disgusting. That kind of face. And it is so good. Very mean sounding beat to that one. Has a brief blasty sort of midpoint in there as well, which was great. Sort of the first blasty parts of the album, followed by sort of a wild, almost virtuoso style guitar solo, like far more clean and traditional heavy metal sounding on that one than the prior two tracks. So yeah, all over the fretboard, really good, really skilled musicians here, and a lot of melodic tails that draw that emotion out of you as well. So that's probably a highlight track. This autonomic terror. There you go. That's probably the highlight track. The next side B, continues on just as good. I think Corpseless at the end is another grinder. That one's particularly great. But what you don't get on the LP, which I haven't heard it, but on the CD version, and they did this last time, which is why I ended up with a CD and an LP of the first album. I don't remember what the extra track was, but on this case, the extra track is a Sisters of Mercy cover. A song called After Hours is the last track on the CD version. I guess it couldn't fit on the LP. No idea what that sounds like. If you got the CD version, feel free to report back. I don't know Sisters of Mercy aside from the name and their influential goth and that kind of stuff. I really don't know their music, but be very curious to hear what a doomy death metal sound would apply to that, if that's indeed how they went down that path, and not just did a more traditional cover. But yeah, great stuff. I mean, it's out on Carbonized Records, which has always been a little bit challenging for me to find in Australia, but Blacksound are a strong distributor of Carbonized Records. It makes my life incredibly easy. So yeah, highly recommend this one. Take a look inside. Sorry, still on the tail end of a cold. Can't get rid of it. It's winter here. There's great artwork there. That looks like a decomposing booby. I probably shouldn't be showing, but hey, there's some lyrics. Nice layout again. Was there anything else in there? Yeah, there's a download code or something in here. Oh yeah, sticker. That's right. So we get the logo and sticker, which I should find somewhere to put it, and the download code, which I've already used. So I'm afraid you can't use it. But LP, there's the hype sticker. As I said before, I try and transition them onto the inner sleeve. Nice grey on this one. I think it's available in grey and the black from memory. So yeah, the grey marble looked quite good and went with the cover. So I was happy for that variant. So what they're calling it. Doesn't say what they've actually called it. Oh, I'll just call it grey marble. But yeah, really strong stuff here. Deific Morning. They've just upped the heaviness of the first album. And yeah, it's just an absolute belter. So make sure you check this one out. See if Blacksound down in Melbourne still have copies. Otherwise, pick it up from Carbonized. Great stuff. Next up, we have the debut full-length album from, and you've probably seen a lot of people talking about this one by now, Corpus Offal with Corpus Offal. We'll get into this in a little bit, but this band was formerly Cerebral Rot members. We have Jason Sachs on bass. He's a newcomer, I think, to the scene. I can't find much history on him. We've also got Jesse from Autophagy, another very similar to Cerebral Rot, filthy sounding death metal band. And then we have the dual guitars and vocals provided by, I think it's Clyle, C-L-Y-L-E. I think that would be Clyle. And Ian, formerly of Cerebral Rot, which is why the pitch for Cerebral Rot's inception since day one was, this is the successor. I remember distinctly the day on Instagram where they basically said, yep, Cerebral Rot's no more, but hey, here's this new band. And they dropped this demo. Two-track demo, 2024. With ripened psychosis and gorgic gastric decadent, bloody German-looking font on the back there. And yeah, this was absolutely what we expected. It was going to be a successor to Cerebral Rot, and really good stuff. And I mean, you can kind of stop the review there if you know Cerebral Rot, but there are differences. Obviously, the talent there from Autophagy member on the drums. So we have a slightly different way of approaching the drums here. Still within the ballpark, of course. Not that far removed from what you'd get from Cerebral Rot. It has a tighter, punchier, $20 spin sound to it. It's not too overly polished or anything, but they do have a way of tightening up their bands, and that's been applied here. but still, this is an ugly, down-tuned, swarming mass of death metal. Post the intro, which is this vocally processed, demonic sounding thing with a lot of talk about flesh. It's got 6 lengthy tracks, and the final track is 12 minutes long, which is not what I was expecting for something like this. Musically, of course, this is all death and decay. I mean, the band's called Corpus Offal. Riffs and drum patterns appropriately assigned to those themes. It's dark with plenty of twists and turns, perhaps not as slimy and sewer drenched as Cerebral Rot. And there's probably more, just a tad, maybe 15% more Demolic going on here. And that could be coincidental, or it could just be the fact that really, if you come down to it, the vocals and the two guitars, sort of the main rhythm and lead behind this band, have had, they've had an entire band to get to this point. This may be a debut 4-length album by this band, but you could have called it Cerebral Rot with a new drummer and a new bassist, and it's just sort of like their third album and a 7-inch and an EP and a demo tape. Really, you could have just gone down that path. And in that case, if you look at it that way, they've had a lot of time to just improve and come up with new ideas. And so we have Corpus Offal as the combination of all of these new ideas. And yes, that means a little bit more complexity, a little bit more progression, and a little bit more Demolic-y. The vocals are very similar. It is that, Demolic, down the bottom, gurgles. You strain to try and discern things, and occasionally you can hear the word flesh. But it's right down there. The start of Essence of Dissolution kind of made that one obvious to me, that the progression was amped up a bit. The track's probably my favorite of the album as well. We'll flip over the other side. Very fleshy again. So we had Spiniest Forms of Mortal Abhorrence get you going after the intro, but Essence of Dissolution, that's the track that really got me. Lots of swings in pace and approach on that track. It's got that, the filthy Undergang sound, of course, is in there. All of that good dark death metal sound. It's still obviously murky and filthy and fleshy, but it just feels like it's less swimming in the sewer and more just waggling its feet in there. The next track, the self-titled one, Corpus Offal, that one's got a big autopsy kind of start to it. That one was pretty obviously got an autopsy vibe, so say no more on that. And the rest of it's great, but then you get to the last track, which is Secreted Effluence, and then in brackets, Spilling. I love death metal sometimes. I mean, goddamn. This track, Melanie from Melanie Loves Death Metal, cited as her favorite. This is the 12-minute long track. Not hard to see why. It's just wall-to-wall gore. Big palm-muted chugs over. Got some clean blasts in there, like just that, and the dun, dun, dun. Like all the vocals are gone, the other instruments are gone. It's just these spaced out big chugs over blast that actually felt very disembowelment. That's the kind of thing they would have done back in the day. So that was great. And I actually it's 12 minutes long. It's not all packed with vocals. There's just chunks of vocals and then many, many minutes of no vocals at all. And in those many, many minutes, I was getting some sort of Cannibal Corpse from Skin to Liquid, that kind of instrumentation from the Gallery album. Just a little bit of that going on there. I was really, my mind was wavering into that place. So, I don't know if anyone else was picking up on things like that, but I was definitely in that space when I was listening to it. But it's a really top quality album. The artwork too, we have Karina Monzon or Monzoon, I'm not too sure. She did the artwork for Cerebral Rot's last couple, and has done this piece as well, which is just filthy and disgusting. Apparently, she's a tattoo artist, so you can go and get something like this on your skin, on your flesh. And we have Dan Freed, who is in Excarnated Entity, did all the layouts. And I wonder if he was responsible for the flushing on the inside of the LP. I'll pull out all the stuff, but yeah, you've got the fleshy looking inner here. That's just disgusting. And then the inside of the jacket has got the same fleshy look going on. Hopefully you can see that. So that was great. Lyrics disgusting, horrible, bleh. And I just went with the black LP, so I won't bother getting it out. They kept their logo. You do see their logo. Personally, I would like to see the logo on the front, but I can see like how this kind of symmetry. How would you do it? You would have to shrink this all down a bit, put it up in the corner. I would have been okay with that. When it looks good, you can do it. it's an interesting logo. It looks a bit deathcore-y, to be frank, because it's also sharp. But no, it's good and it's appropriate, and I kind of wish they used it on the front. But that's a minor complaint for such a slab of horrible, ugly death metal. Highly recommend you check this one out. You probably already have, but if you haven't, please do. So back in May, I think it was, I showed the 1997 album from this brutal death metal band. And I said at the time, this is a band that completely missed me by at the time. It really shouldn't have. And I was wondering, like, were they very geographically limited? Did they not get out of the US? I don't know, but I'm so happy for the reissues. From two different labels. That was Sickening Erotic Fanaticism from Mortal Decay out on Hells, but this is Forensic, which came out on Dissonant Tapes, which Hells did stock, but I missed out on it. And I was a bit worried. Couldn't find it. It was a little bit, Dissonant Tapes is a bit harder for me to get. Hells is heaps easy, but this was proving hard and was selling out. Locally, somebody on a Facebook group had, I don't know, either they didn't like it or it was their backup copy. I think it was brand new. So I snapped it up. Forensic. This is the second album. And yeah, originally, and I might have even said it, I was saying, like, Sickening Erotic Fanaticism, that's the album for me. This I liked. I preferred the vocal style, etc., etc. But yeah, I think I've changed my tune, and I pretty much agree with the masses now on this one. This is absolutely S tier stuff. This is that late 90s brutal, slightly technical death metal that you came here for. That, oh Jesus, this is so good. Like, this is proper ear-opening stuff for me. I'm not trying to exaggerate here. This really is what I would have been listening to when it came out, but I had no idea about this band. I was all about this stuff, and now it's like I'm just 25 years younger, and that, I can use that at this time. So that's great. But yeah, it's utterly fantastic. I'm sort of saying what I said last time. Technical, brutal death metal, that late 90s into the early zeros, is what I was all about. Suffocation, Deeds of Flesh, Skinless, Malignancy, all that kind of stuff. It's got even more on the brutal side, I think, this time round, and a little bit more on the tech side as well. They're just, they're following the Deeds of Flesh path here. This is sort of like Path of the Weakening, as opposed to, Inbreeding the Anthropophagy. That they're just moving along a bit. And in this substyle of death metal, I think this is about as good as you're going to get. Along with Deeds, I'm not kidding. This is S tier. This really is a fantastic album, and slapping myself for just not knowing about them. But in a way, that's great, because I'm digging in for the first time now, and I'm understanding what you've all been probably hearing for years at this point, and it's great. It's so good. Slightly blurry cover on this. I mean, I guess that's just the artwork they had to work from. I think it was CD only at first. They probably didn't have anything great to use. You can see that the font there is recreated, but everything else is kind of zoomed in, whatever. But 9 tracks, 46 minutes of just completely flooring, brutal technical death metal. It's, it rarely holds onto a single riff or a time signature for more than one phrase. It's bouncing all over the place. I've always loved that approach to death metal. Bouncing around, swaggery New York style breakdowns and things are thrown in here. Not stupid like modern day beatdown deathcore nonsense. I mean proper, as they were doing back then. Finger tapping leads, wild bass guitars, got a lot of prominence here. Dual guttural and raspy vocals at the same time. I'm not even sure what to say is like the standout song. I mean, the whole damn thing just rules. I've played this many, many times since I picked it up. I'm very excited for this one, if you haven't quite noticed. I mean, if this came out this year, it's just no question. This is my album of the year, no question. But it didn't. It came out 25 years ago. So just take that as if this was 2025 album, I'd just say go and buy it now, top of your list. But it's not, quite old. There's the band members. The lyrics, it's a good layout. And yeah, I don't think it had an LP before. On black, nothing too exciting. Not sure if there was colours, there might have been. And yeah, nothing much else in there. It's just all about the gatefold. But for me, this is all about the tunes. And this, yeah, please try and find a copy. CD, tape, LPs if you can find any. As I said, it's from Dissonant Tapes. Go check them out, see if they've got stock. If they haven't, check every distro you can. If you have got any passing interest in that late 90s death metal sound, please check out Mortal Decay Forensic.
You never taking used to the smell of perfect or the son of a dead child.
Leaping forward to the modern times again, we have the sophomore album from a Hungarian death doom band, and I'm more satisfied to say death doom this time around. This is Rothadas, and I usually say I will not attempt to pronounce an album name and then I give it an attempt. I'm just not. It's Rothadas, and it's this. But it translates to Thorn Garden, the eternal sense of temptation, the ghostly harangue, if you believe Google, that is. But anyway, whatever. The band is Rothadas, Rothadas, and there's probably a little thing on there. I think you can see a little thing on there. So, sorry, don't speak Hungarian. I'm just trying my best over here. This is an incredibly impressive follow-up to the 2021 first album from these guys. It also had an unpronounceable name, but I find that this album is more. This is better. This is a stronger album. It's more well orchestrated, I think. Is better produced as well. It is just a bit more clear. I enjoyed the first album, but I've got to say it didn't really stick with me. I should go back and give it another go. This one, though, sticks with me from the first spin. They play in that same space as Crips from Finland, Fossilization from Brazil, gloomy, punishingly heavy, but not so slow to put you to sleep, Death Doom. Doom in its outlook, but not so much just musically. There's a lot of death metal, obviously. Think like Mortiferum, that blast as much as they do Crawl, and it's dense and it's as heavy as you'd expect, with a clean snare, very clean tom drums as well. Lots of tom usage on this. A somewhat mechanical but deep sounding guitar. Excuse me, I cannot get rid of this cough. There's the back of it there. I mean, they're hanging around the graveyard just looking. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's just 1992. Beautiful. I just love it. There's some very ferocious moments on this album. The back half of the second track, which is Verticore, where is that one? That was here. Second track, Verticore. Blood Count, that translates to. It's chaotic, and it's not at all doom on that one. The riffs, anything but happy. It's a very, I don't want to say depressive, but it's death and it's decay. It's not meant to be happy. As proven by the third track, A Gate of Size. Again, that's what this translates to. I'm not going to try that. Dense. Dense in all capitals. D-E-N-S-E. Dense. Big chugga. Goodness on that one. Side B opener, A Lake of Corpses, A Dance of Ghosts. I'm just trusting Google with these translations, guys. Hopefully it's somewhat resemblant of what it actually means. That one swings from destruction to a crushing swagger, just back and forward. Possibly the most concrete track on the album. It's got a lot to just hang in on. It's a real concrete. It's strong. It's the strongest track. You would probably bullwhip somebody if you tried windmilling your hair around to this particular track. It's the one you can really get into. Easily the highlight track for me. And the fifth track, Screaming Smoke, has a very that's this one here. Screaming Smoke has a very ugly, fast tremolo in it too, which we haven't seen too much of in this album so far. And that's probably due to the guitar tone. When they play it fast in that tremolo, we get like Symmetry, Evil Shade of Grey. You know, that really weird sounding HM2 kind of thing. Don't know what pedals or whatever these guys use, but yeah, that Symmetry sound that everyone still to this day scratches their head going, what the hell's going on with that? There's a bit of that happening in this track. The final track, Eternal God Lucifer. Great translation. I hope that one's accurate. Nearly 10-minute epic with added depressive clean singing, dissonant guitar on that one. It's that one's sort of juggling as my second highlight, I think, because that one's just the most evil sounding track. That one's diabolical sounding track. But great cover artwork too. It's a subdued but really wonderful piece. You got sort of the devil over there in the background. You've got and it's got a gloss on it, so I don't know how well it's coming across. Go take a look at a copy online. But yeah, massively superior to the first album. Like I said, the first album was good, but it didn't quite stick with me. This one sticks with me. It's been getting a lot of plays. Could very well appear on some sort of year-end list at this point. Great lyrics there. Can't read a word of it. It is all in Hungarian. But I can look at the prettiness. There is some English actually. We've got some English on this side. Oh, lovely, nice mix. I don't know what they're singing in though, because God knows, gutturals, right? And the LP, this one I did get on color, and where is the top? Because it matched so nicely. Nice blue. Yeah, that they suckered me with that one. That's a nice looking blue. Goes nicely with the cover. Got that one direct from MSUO. And yeah, really, really strong album. If you like your death metal heavy and dense, with a lot of the doomy sound, but still a lot of those fast moments and a real evil, diabolical tone to it, check out this one from Rothadas with Thorn Garden, The Eternal Sense of Temptation, The Ghostly Harangue. Maybe, if Google says so. Next up, we're doing a bit of a twofer here, 2 albums for the price of 1, both from the band Scolopendra. This is Those of the Catacombs, great, very classic looking sort of 60s horror artwork there, followed up by the partially censored by J-Dog cover here for VM18. And I don't know what VM18 is, but I did have to cover up the Vampiria boobage there. But yeah, also great artwork on this one. But we'll just hold this one up for simplicity. Yeah, Scolopendra. Did you know that the Scolopendra is a genus of a type of large tropical centipede? I got that from Metal Archives. I'm sure it's true. But there you go. Giant, horrible centipede. And you can see it in the logos. I mean, they're horns, but they also look like centipedes. The more you know, right? The more you know. The first thing you think of when you listen to these guys is, geez, these guys listen to a lot of Abhor. And that's because they are Abhor, which I didn't actually know that going in. I don't think I did. Maybe I had it in the back of my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, horrific death metal with a raw sound to it. I'm in. Geez, this sounds like Abhor. Oh yeah, right. So the guitar, the bass, and the vocals are provided by Abhor. They're replicated here, just a bit more death metally than black metally. And then they have a couple of sort of revolving door drummers from other bands. On this particular album, side A and side B have different drummers. Don't know what the story is with that, but that's the case. Officially, it's a 2-piece band. Just the 2 rhythm sections and the vocals from Abhor. But their style on this is kind of a little bit like Inquisition meets Necrophagia. Has that croaky vocal style is pure Inquisition. The staccato riffs and the drums matching is also very much from them. But then it's got a lot of Holocausto della Morte, very dry, loose instrumentation. Slower to mid-pace, very similar to Abhor itself. Great riffs, great grooves. Spooky keyboards and synths, just like you'd kind of expect from Abhor. Passages like the intro on side B. There we go. There's the band. I mean, look at that. That inverted cross crudely painted on your face. That's outstanding. Yeah, the smell of cadavers on side B. Yeah, it sounds like some very dusty, decrepit zombies are shuffling out of their tombs. The Deadite in the cellar from Evil Dead 2, huskily growling like there's this whispered, dead by dawn, dead. That's that kind of thing that's going on in that track. But yeah, this is great. I've always loved this style. You listen to me on this channel, and I'm always gravitating towards that sort of underproduced, raw, organic sound. And then I love that Italian and Greek, very loose sound, the Hellenic sound. It's so much of that stuff just really appeals to me. Just that it's almost like plug in and play kind of approach. I've always dug it for a very long time. Here's our guest drummers on these ones. So yeah, it's great stuff. And I won't speak too much separately about VM18 because it is very, very similar. It's just a continuation. I have a slight preference for Those of the Catacombs. I think maybe it's just got a little bit more ideas. But both are great, worthy of your pickup. 35, 40 minutes long each, 8-track pocket, that kind of standard length stuff. It's a good length for this kind of style. And what it's doing, though, is making me want to check out more things. So we've got a dedicated drummer on this album. Makes me want to check out more things from Abhor, because there's another side project involved in there somewhere. There's this a band called Decrepisy, which is another black metal band. I think it might be a bit more raw and visceral. Haven't checked it out yet, but if it's got these guys involved, it's going to be good. So it'll be quality. And yeah, both of these things are out on NWN, which is exactly where you would put a band like Scolopendra and exactly where Abhor lives. So yeah, great stuff. We'll take a look at the inside of both. There's the lyrics. Nice art piece there. She's certainly having her way with that corpse. And like the old record label style there, that's very, very early 80s perhaps, late 70s kind of thing. Just yeah, good stuff. Italian death metal, there you go. After 3 years, Scolopendra returns with their second album of morbid death metal necromancy. Now that is a hype sticker remark. That's exactly what I should be calling this. Recommended for fans of Necrophagia, Autopsy, Mortuary Drape, and Nihilist. I don't hear so much Nihilist, but yeah, Mortuary Drape. I mean, you get that with this kind of stuff for sure. And we'll pop that back in here. And move on to the other one. I'll show you the insides of those of the Catacombs. We have another straightforward inner on this one. Hype on this one, we have Cryptborn Morbid Horror. Absolute death metal necromancy again, awakened from the ancient Italian catacombs. Most fiendish and bloodthirsty fans of Autopsy, Mortuary Drape, and Necrophagia. So, right on the money there. And we're also having our way, looks like Santo is having his way with the corpse there. That's a little bit how you're going, isn't it? A bit risque, but anyway. There's the lyrics. We are those of the catacombs, gloom, moist, and eternal suffering. Yes, you are. Scolopendra. Those are the catacombs and VM18. Yeah, if you like what the hype stickers are saying, what I was suggesting, check them out. And lastly, and I'm definitely, in my opinion, leaving the best till last, this is a fantastic debut full length from a brand new band out on Dark Descent Records. And I didn't know which update to put this one in because it crosses everything. This is 11th Ray with Reviving Tehom, or Tehom, not too short, T-H-O-M, Reviving Tehom, we'll go with that. But you will understand, like as I said, this came out on Dark Descent, but you're going to understand when I say that 11th Ray sounds like an Invictus band. It's that hybrid mix of old sounding death metal, black metal, and just traditional heavy metal elements. Yeah, focused foremost on good songs rather than extremity or riff salads. That's the Invictus template. I was talking about that in the last update. 11th Ray feel like they belong on Invictus. But hey, Matt at Dark Descent knows good as well. So yeah, very, very cool that they're on that label. They are a Greek four-piece with a huge amount of Morbid Tales era Celtic Frost influence, undeniable. Mixed in with, say, early Varathron. It's got sort of spoken, shouted vocals that would fit well with like a less hardcore version of Power Trip. That was a strange kind of thing there. I was like, what the hell do these vocals sound like? Oh, Power Trip, which is not at all what you think of when I'm saying that band sounds like Invictus Records put it out. There's one review on Metal Archives, actually, that just the subject is just Hellenic Frost. That's it, you're done. Yeah. 11th Ray, Hellenic Frost. Great description. I didn't even have to read that review. It's right on the money with those two words. Yeah, it gets you at least 75% of the way to understanding what this band is doing. A great mix. Some, as I was saying, a very strong display of songcraft from these guys. Quite short, 9 tracks, 35 minutes. It does everything it needs to do in that time. And it gives you it actually makes you want to turn over and start again. So A, B, and then A, B again, because it's just, it's a tasty, tasty album. Every riff and every pattern have to count if you're, this level of musicianship in 35 minutes. It just all has to count. So it's very memorable, to the point, sort of 4-minute long songs, 4.5 minute long songs. It's hard to pick a favorite. I love this artwork too, by the way. Flip over. There's the track Starry Eyes, Staring Eyes, not Starry Eyes, Staring Eyes. That one's got to be up there for me. It takes quite the journey on that track. It kind of goes through all the motions. Path of the Bellator is another one. That's a pan pipes kind of track. That thing would have fit on like some prison album. Like, I liked it. It was like really big, simplistic, but Casio sounding thing. It just fits so well. Really, really good. Pan Noctifer. We're going to side B here. I'm just sort of jumping around a bit, but Pan Noctifer. Damn. That's a big, slower riff track. It stands out. That would probably be my second favorite. Darker, twisted riffs on that one. The final track is the most obvious one for Celtic Frost worship here. The title track, Reviving Tehom. Or maybe the last sort of 3 to 4 Dark Throne albums, right? That black heavy metal sound. Yeah, that's what the title track is like. Very Luciferian mixed language all the way through, English and some Greek. There's even some Greek tracks in here. I have no idea what that would say. But yeah, this is when I was trying to find the word for it, and the fact that I keep like going A, B, A, B, or if I'm out walking, I'm playing digitally, I just let it finish and then start again. It is an addictive listen. It is, because the tracks are so memorable and to the point and just chock full with no room to spare. Even when they have room to spare and they do a little panpipe track, it's completely needed. It feels like it has to be there. This is an addictive listen. It is not an album as well that initially grabbed me. Occasionally, these things come out. Dark Descent put out lots of death metal, 99% of death metal, and then they put out every now and then they put out something that isn't in my wheelhouse. Like the band, the name that escapes me at the moment, they've got the sort of more traditional doom metal band that many people like, but it's just not for me. The name escapes me at the moment. But initially, I thought when I saw this coming out, I'm like, oh, it's going to be maybe for that crowd more so than the extreme metal crowd. And I listened to it digitally, and I went in with that mindset, I think, and it didn't grab me. And I was very wrong, because we're lucky. I get the Heavy Metallurgy promos, and I gave it a spin on my phone, and another, and another, and another, and it just kept sinking in each listen. Like, oh, it's that moment on that song. Oh, here's that cool riff coming up. It just happened all the way through this album. It's like listening to a more traditional sounding album from the late 80s or something, that it's just every song counts. So good. But then I got the LP version. Like, that was enough to get me, okay, I'm going to commit. I'll buy the record. Popped on the turntable. It just hasn't come off. All this other stuff has been getting a lot of spins too that I've been talking about, but this thing is, I'm just, after this video, I'm just going to put it back on again. I've been playing 11th Ray, Reviving Tehom over and over and over, and yeah, it is definitely in the top 10 of 2025. It's just down to how high it's got to go and who it's going to be competing with. But at this point, it's up in the single digits. It's up there. It's up there. So, yeah, for a debut from a band I'd never heard of, I think they might have just had a digital demo maybe 2 years before or something. I don't know if there was a physical anything prior to this. I love it when this keeps happening, where we just like, you turn around and there's this, here is everything brand new from this brand new act. And it's great. And it really does sound like it would belong on the Invictus roster. So if you're a fan of that style that they put out, jump in to the 11th Ray here. I mean, jump into the Crypt of Rays. There you go. That's what we're doing with this one. Absolutely fantastic. Reviving Tehom. This was so good. And I don't do this very often. Like, I talk about death metal a lot. But when I get something like this, I very excitedly sent an email to Alan from Heavy Metallurgy. I said, this is you. This is all about you. And we had an email thread backwards and forwards, and he agreed. And was giving it spins. He's very cautious with his spins. I understand Alan. He doesn't buy so many things. He will be very cautious with his spending on certain things. So I was happy to send him my recommendation. I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks later in the Heavy Metallurgy live stream chat, he mentioned, oh, damn it, Simon, you made me buy the album. So take that to the bank as a recommendation. There's the inside. I love the design. The layout of this thing's great. Very old school evil. Look at that. All the sigils. Beautiful stuff. It's a great layout. Nice inner there. Just on black. Not sure if there was color variants. There might have been. And yeah, nice flush red all the way through. So it's a very red album. 11th Ray, Reviving Tehom. This is essential stuff. If you like the kind of things I've been describing, if you just like all the brutal, disgusting death metal, this might not be for you. But if you do like that kind of Invictus roster and some of the things on Dark Descent, then I think you're going to love this one, because I absolutely do. 11th Ray, Reviving Teo. Fantastic album. And that's it. That's the 7 albums I'm going to show you today. And I just realized that when I put the Scolopendra on the rack behind me, I let the boobage show. So call that the bonus round, and hopefully the YouTube censors don't slap me for some artistic bosom. If you like this one, please consider joining the channel. 99 cents a month, as described at the start of this video. You get early access and maybe some future exclusives. But really, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. Regardless of how you support the channel, other ways you can is simply to like this video and absolutely press the subscribe button. It gets it all just through the algorithm and gets it out to more people, which is what it's all about. I just want to get death metal out there. That's my job. And I hope you enjoy me fulfilling my job. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Make sure you check out this thing. Check out this thing. I'll see you next time.